Hi, I am Gideon and I'm a co-founder of OnePane. OnePane is an exciting new startup which is trying to bridge a gap that existed for a long time in the market. It's something that has been attempted to be addressed by many organizations, but the really big challenge has been that the gap between business and the services that business is delivering to their customers and the IT infrastructure that's supporting it is not easy to overcome. I'll show you a little bit more as we talk through this, but the basic challenge is that there's a tension between business and between IT and the service that IT can deliver to business in order to align to what the customers are expecting. Much has been said about the concept of observability. Now, what OnePane does is OnePane delivers 360-degree observability of services. Now, this is very important because basically what we are saying is that anything that has to do with that specific service, we want to be able to observe that information. And if something goes wrong, we want to be able to collect the information in order to be able to place that in the context of the service so that the issues that exist could be resolved as quickly as possible. Now, in this example that I've got here, we have a customer. Customer is going to a website. He wants to order some sunglasses. When he wants to order some sunglasses, he's already selected the information that he wants and he wants to add it to his cart. Unfortunately, when he clicks on add to cart, what happens in this case is that there's an error being generated. Now, if it was a very simple system, it would be fine because then it means that that problem can be resolved as long as the team who's working on this thing understands that something has gone wrong. The challenge is that that service is being supported by infrastructure. They have a website which is running, which is presented to the customer, but there's very little information about how that connection is working and how that customer who's experiencing this problem at this stage is actually affected by it. Now, if it's just one service that you have in your organization, it's fine because in that case, it means that there's only one service which is being delivered. But you can imagine that as more services are being delivered, or as the complexity of the existing services increase, what happens is that the visibility and the observability of that estate becomes more and more complicated and more complex. So what people do classically is to go and implement some monitoring platform. Now, this is an example of Azure Monitor, and in this case, what's happening is that the infrastructure that we have shown earlier is being monitored in Azure, and when there's an event taking place, in other words, if there's certain thresholds that are being broken, what it'll do is it'll generate an event, and that event will then go to whatever is busy happening. And classically, when people start with this journey or businesses start with this journey, what would happen is they would notify an engineering team via some mechanism or by logging an incident. When that happens, the engineering support team, as I said, if it's a simple one, if it's just one service which is being provided, then it's fine. And then that linkage between that is immediate. And the guys can say, I have received an event for a server, but that means that the service is being affected by that one server. But if I have 12,000 servers with plenty of other infrastructure and all kinds of other information, that becomes really difficult. And that means that the relationship between what the customer is experiencing and what the engineering team is seeing from the infrastructure becomes very vague. Now, once an engineering team receives the information, the event, it gives them the information that they need to go and, or a pat on the shoulder, let's call it like that they need in order to be able to go and analyze the problem and to restore the service, which is obviously the purpose of this whole exercise. So events and incidents then become the one of the areas that they want to go and investigate. And the challenge with that is that if it's a more complex kind of environment, it could be multiple things that are indicated as being wrong. So a monitor might pick up that there is a problem with a network infrastructure component and with servers and with the database, but it depends from where it's being monitored. So it's not to say that that incident or that event is the only event that's related to this problem. The other area that they can utilize in order to be able to go and determine the root cause is to go and have a look at logs. Now, that could be multiple. As we looked at our complexity of our environment here, which is a relatively simple service, there would be logs that's available where they can go and see what's causing the error, what's leading to this error. Now, there are plenty of tools that's available for larger environments, and what you could do, log analytics tools and many other things, which allows you to out of that information try to make sense. Also generate events if there's something which doesn't make sense from that log information. But the engineering team will still have to go through that information to try to determine what's going on. Then finally, once they have determined the root cause, then the engineering team would then want to go and say, well, how do I restore the service? They would go back into the platform and have a look at internet information on community groups, on information on all kinds of different places where they try to determine how to resolve this. So the challenge is that all this investigation actually creates quite a long trail of evidence that they have to go and dig through. And that means that in order to be able to get to the point where they can restore the service takes quite a long way. And the challenge for customers is that, customers are not that patient. If you are trying to sell something to a customer and they're not able to get access to that, like this gentleman here who was not able to order his sunglasses, it means they'll simply go away. They'll go somewhere else. You could also potentially lose your staff. Because what happens when there's engineering staff and support staff who's trying to make something work and there's a big outage, the pressure is immense. The time that people work on trying to resolve this thing is massive because this is what's generating money for the company. So engineering staff and support staff in an environment where they're not able to solve issues quickly, not able to resolve them easily, is the churn is quite high. The other area, of course, is that you would be losing money. Business loss is a direct result of not being able to fulfill the service which is requested by the customer. And the stuff that's going behind the scenes, customers are not sympathetic for that. Why? Because they can simply go to somebody else and get better service from them or get another product. Or they can go from one supplier to another supplier until they find what they want. And then finally, the business owners. Business owners then struggle because they don't have a view of what's busy happening. They understand the impact of outages on their services. It's pretty much all obscured to the business service owner. And that creates a challenge also for them. It makes them to not be able to fulfill their mandate. So how does OnePane do this differently? Well, first of all, what we do is we have our own discovery mechanism. And utilizing our discovery mechanism, which is a combination of various techniques and stuff like that, which we utilize, we discover the infrastructure. Now, that information can come from monitoring tools. It can from multiple places, directly from the infrastructure. It depends what it is. And then creates a linkage to the business service. So it says this specific business service has all these components which form part of it. And those components are related to each other through various ways. And that's what we determine during the discovery and the mapping phase. The service owner then basically has a collection of the objects that's being utilized or consumed by a service, which allows us then to be able to create a dashboard which shows the actual state of the service. So in other words, the service owner could go to the dashboard and then understand what the health is of his service, can understand what's the mean time to detect an error, which is useful information, and very importantly, what's the mean time to restore a service. And a service owner wants to typically see that the mean time to restore the service actually becomes lower and lower and lower. Why? Because it increases efficiency, reduces the downtime, and makes sure that the service owner is able to deliver his service within the parameters that he wants to. So this is all very important information for the service owner. Now, what we then do is we then utilize existing monitoring. You don't have to introduce new monitoring. We don't monitor this information ourselves, but we utilize what's already there. So it could be Azure Monitor, it could be some APM tool, there could be some log monitoring that's involved with that. And then what we do is we build an integration into our platform. Now, that integration is very interesting because, first of all, there's information that we want. In other words, information that comes to us unsolicited. But there's also information that we want to retrieve from these various platforms. And I'll explain just now what this is, but this is the really useful part. So when there is something that goes wrong with my service, then what will happen is an event will be triggered from your event management platform. And that event will then inside OnePane go and trigger a discovery of the environments that are all connected to it. And in that way, it will then go and determine if there are any other events that's related to it. It will go and determine if there are any log entries that's related to the components that form part of this specific service. It will go and collect other information about changes, if there's any changes that we introduced. So in the cloud environment, you can see that a configuration item was updated and understand the timing of that in relation to the error that has been received or the event that has been received. Now, that allows within the one piece of information, all the collection or a collection of all the relevant data which relates to this specific outage for this specific service. Then the next thing that we do is we also go out to community websites and to knowledge bases. And in there, go and do a search of things that this could probably, or ways that this can probably be resolved. So, in other words, it goes and looks for solutions. It also concentrates that information into the incident. Then this enriched incident with all this information bundled together with it is then utilized to open up an incident on your incident management platform, whether it's ServiceNow or whether it is BMC, it doesn't matter. We can open up that incident there. Information that goes along with that, for instance, would be a normalized description. It would say, my service is being affected by an outage. It could be something in the line of there's a specific network error that's existing within your system. So that's information that's actually created by utilizing AI, and the description itself is then posted in normal English. So when the incident has then been logged and the investigation is being started by the team, all the information that they need is available directly inside the OnePane incident. And that allows them to quickly do root cause analysis of exactly what has been going on. And it allows them to very simply be able to go and work out how to go and resolve this issue. So what we effectively do is we say that the service can be restored because all the necessary information is concentrated in this one place. They don't have to go off to multiple monitoring tools to go and see what's going there. They don't have to go off to log analytics tools. They don't have to go and find this information in all kinds of different places. And where we can, we also provide the solution to that. So in other words, we provide links then which they can click on and say, how do I fix this? Oh, click on this, say, oh, I can go and fix this by doing X, Y, Z. So that's basically what we are doing. The value of that is that we reduce the mean time to repair to a very short time because we are able to increase efficiency enormously on what the engineers need to be able to do, and the customer experience likewise does increase considerably. That leads to a happier team, it leads to happy service owners, and it leads to increased profits, which at the end of the day is the reason why we do business. We do business so that we can make some money. Thank you for watching this presentation on OnePane, and please let us know if you want any more information. You can contact me at gideon@onepane.ai, or you could visit our website at onepane.ai and request a demo if you want to see more about the product. Thanks a lot. Cheers.